Hello and welcome, strategy game fans. It is Rob again from eXplanation, here again with AI War 2 and one of the final episodes of our beginner's guide. And what I want to do now is talk about our very first target. We've already determined that this is going to be our target, Trawl here, because we have this transport flagship just waiting to be taken. We also have the turret schematic server and the advanced research station, both that are just begging to be hacked, right? So with that, we have a strength here of roughly, I mean, it's going to be roughly, actually it says down here in the middle, it says the centerpiece of fleet strike eXplanation of total strength 16. So we have a total strength of 16 from this particular ship right here. So it's going to be a little close, right? 16 and 12. So if the AI forces don't immediately retreat, we're going to be up against a pretty decent force compared to our force. So what we could do, which is totally normal and totally cool, is consider maybe another mark upgrade. So our largest fleet, our largest ship line right now is the V-Wing. And with an upgrade to its core weapon technology, we can go ahead and upgrade it to Mark II. And then also that will increase our strength, as you can see down there in the middle, by 6 strength. So that's something to consider, right? I also want to talk about what we can do if we decide we've done something that we don't really necessarily like. We can always come down and retrieve spent science. So if I come up here and I take this and I'm like, man, you know what? The core technology was a bad idea. I shouldn't have done that. I can come down here and retrieve it. I can come over here and I can retrieve the core, and for a cost of 5 hacking points, I can refund it and then use that to buy other techs, to tech up or mark up other ship types. So that's something to consider. It kind of lets you be, diversified and also kind of respond to things, on the fly. So very important, and also a really good idea to keep an eye on. All right, with that, we have Orion. Okay, we are the masters of Orion at this point, and we have it well defended. And I think it's a good idea that we take our first fleet and we send it over to Trawl. So let's get started. Once we get here, once the actual transport ship gets here, we're going to go ahead and hit the U button to unload. And that's going to unload all of our ships, and we're going to go ahead and start attacking things. All right, we can use X to attack and move at the same time, or we can attack targets individually like we are right now. Either way is fine, depending on what you're being presented with, right? So you can see in the upper left-hand corner, our fleet strength is actually 20, as opposed to the remaining forces here at a strength of 8. All right, we've destroyed quite a bit of them already. We're going to go ahead and maybe use that attack move and bring them up here. You're going to come in and stay over here, actually. A consideration for these flagships is that, if they get crippled, you can't load them. You can't load your ships back into these places and to the transport flagships. And B, they also can't repair and reinforce your fleets at that point too. So you want to do your best to make sure they don't get crippled, right? So keeping them off to the side, keeping them away from the actual combat is a good idea. So we're going to speed things up a little bit. We're going to be at speed 2, as you can see down here in the lower left-hand corner.
AI planning attack on home planet.
You can do that. You can increase speed by either using these arrows or using the plus and minus signs. And it looks like they're already going to be attacking me with a strength of 16 at Orion. Now, that's nothing for us, right? We have a strength of 53. We're not even remotely worried about a strength of 16. All right, so once we get through here and we destroy all the stuff, we've got an unarmed guard post and some of these tractor arrays here that we're just destroying real quick. Once we get them taken care of, we're going to go over here and take out the EI command here. All right, so we're going to send some of these over here because we don't need all these guys for one tractor array. And then there we go.
As fast as we can. Yes, sir.
So, two things to consider right now are that the command station is the one thing keeping me from being able to take this planetary system for my own. And then there's also these things called warp gates, all right? The warp gate is what allows the AI to attack Orion. And when we're going to take it out, it's no longer going to be able to take their forces to Orion. So you'll see this go away. Assuming we destroy it before that timer's up. Which we did. See, the whole thing has gone away because they're no longer...
This changes nothing.
They're no longer capable of sending fleets to Orion because their warp gate has actually been destroyed. So what you can tell in the upper right hand corner just now was that we've increased our AI progress because we've taken that command station and we destroyed that warp gate. So of course, everything we do has some sort of consequence. And in this case, taking both of those and making this planet ours has pissed off the AI ever so slightly, right? Rightfully so. So what we want to do now, we have taken the command station out. As you can see, once we come out here, it is now a neutral territory. All right, so nobody owns it because there's no command station from them and there's no command station from us. Let's talk about the command stations. All right, so the economic command station, of course, it's kind of what it means, right? The name suggests is that it's pretty good at delivering more for your economy. It produces the most metal per second. It also adds the most metal per second, but it doesn't actually increase your metal storage more than the logistical command, which is kind of strange. But the defensive capabilities here are reduced to 25% of what it would normally be. So you don't have as many turrets, you don't have as many things as you would normally have within a planet system. And, you know, that can be a concern, right? Well, with that, of course, there's trade-offs, right? So you either have this command station that can produce quite a bit for your resources, but is also really poorly capable of defending itself, or you have your logistical command, which is kind of in the middle of your economic and military command. Your logistical command can produce 120 metal per second. It adds actually more to your metal storage by 600,000. It generates less energy, but an important thing is that it actually recons. It searches out all the planets within 2 hops or 2 warps of where you are, which is really important because you're going to have a better idea of what's going on around you. So they also give you a planetary speed booster of 3.5. So everything that's within that planetary area will be boosted in its speed by 3.5 times. And so it's good, right? And it also has a decent defense capability, right? It has quite a few bit more turrets and stuff like that. Finally, we have our military command. So this, of course, actually has its own weapon. All right, so it has this really powerful weapon that actually pushes targets away, and unfortunately, it produces much less metal, it produces much less energy, and it also has much less metal storage, but it still can watch planets within 1 hop, and its defensive structure capability is vastly improved over the other 2. And you can drop so many different frigates and turrets here that you can really defend the planetary system you use these for. With that being said, so the kind of things you'd want to think about are, what are the chances that this place is going to be invaded? Is this a forward operating base? Because if it's a forward operating base, you definitely want a military command, right? Because it's capable of defending itself much better. But if it's maybe kind of behind enemy lines, behind your lines and well defended, then maybe an economic command is a better choice. And I think that's where we're going to go with this one, because we want our economy to get going. And I want to maybe put this up away from everything. So here's Rolf. I think the idea is to put it maybe, let's put it like almost right on Orion. Okay.
I'll see to it myself.
I say that because it's going to have its own force field, and a force field there is going to keep the AI forces from going to Orion. It's going to also be a little bit easier to defend because I can send ships through this wormhole to easily defend this quickly. And yeah, there's just a few different reasons why you'd want to keep it there. We're going to let it get built. And then once it gets built, it's going to start building the metal harvesters that we can use to extract metal from this place. And then we're going to start actually hacking things here at this planetary system. All right, so once it's built, we're going to build some turrets out just to kind of help the defense, because when you start hacking things, the AI starts sending ships through those particular stations and stuff. So we want to have a little bit of help, right? we could probably take them with what we have, but we're going to go ahead and utilize some help. So, all right, so our force field generator, we're going to go ahead and drop right here.
We won't let you down.
And then maybe right over here. And that way they're overlapping. And that way if any of them get destroyed, that's fine. And it also covers Orion, which is great too. Something I want to talk about before I move on is that you can always change your command stations. So if you decide, oh crap, you know what, this probably would have been a better place to put a logistical command station, you can do that. Or man, this thing is getting blasted, I really want to help it defend itself. We're going to go ahead and change it to military command. All right, so we have now taken the other ship line here, the other transport ship, and as you can see, it's generating all of its ships, and it's ours. We've hacked it. So this is where the strategy comes in. I've mentioned in the last episode. Do we take it? Do we use it as a second strike force? Or do we use it as a boost for our economy? I've been using it as a boost for my economy recently, and I think that you aren't wrong to do either one. So if you want to use it as a second transport that goes around and does things, so be it. If you want it to be a mobile defense fleet, so be it. But in this case, what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to take it and I'm going to send all of these ships to the first strike fleet here. So we're going to swap. We're going to send it. Yes, swap. And we're just going to do that for all of these. And then finally here. And what we'll do is now, once we unpause it, all these ships are going to go... Wait, maybe not. I thought they were... Oh, that's right, because I was about to say they're going to go flying over to Transport 1, but that's because we don't have the ships for Transport 1 loaded. So we're going to load them all up, and they're all going to come flying over there. All right, and now, as you can see, the strike flagship eXplanation is rather powerful, right, by itself. So we're going to take this one, and because our home economy is probably the strongest, we're going to go ahead and send Strike Fleet 1. We're going to actually change it. Sorry, Strike Fleet 3. We're going to change it to maybe like Resource Helper or Resourcer. There we go. Resource... yeah, help. I shouldn't think too hard on this. So we're going to go ahead and call it Resource Help. And that just helps me understand that that's what this thing's for, right? So we've sent 3 back over this way, and we're going to keep it out of the way so it doesn't get destroyed. And once it is non-crippled in this particular planet system for, as you can see in the middle there on the tooltip, 287, 76, 75 more seconds, it will then help contribute to the resources generated here, which is great. All right, so now we've got more ship lines, right? So let's consider what we have here on Strike 1, Strike eXplanation, and look to see what maybe could be upgraded with mark levels. So we have an apparition frigate, which is actually pretty cool, right? But it's a cloaked frigate and it's fast, and this is good. This is a good frigate to have, and its tech is upgraded by the raid tech. So its mark level is upgraded by the raid tech. So we also have here the Mirage, which is also upgraded with the raid tech. So giving that raid tech an upgrade is going to be very good for us. So we're going to go ahead and do that. All right. Looks like they're taking care of this lonesome little unarmed guard post here. And what we have next is the ability to hack, right? We've talked about hacking. We're now going to hack our advanced research station here. Okay, so that's going to allow us to gain ship lines, more ships. More ships are always good. So we're going to go ahead and go to our hacking tab, and we're going to steal AI ship line. And then we can look to see which of the AI ship lines we want. So right now, considering that we have one here that's clearly at a higher mark level because we've upgraded the tech there that's required for our siege frigate, which is artillery, we're going to go ahead and take it because it's going to add quite a bit of strength.
Our hackers are starting.
And what you'll see too is as we're hacking this, there's going to be AI ships that come out of this, and we're going to destroy them pretty quickly.
Hacking is finished.
All right, so now our transport ship has those siege frigates, which is great, and we're just going to keep stealing more of them. All right, so we've got V-Wings Mark III. We can add even more V-Wings. We have Brawler frigates that are also improved by artillery. Wow, okay. And then we can also look at these other ones, right? So there's other things to consider too. Like we might want one of these because it would help us round out our fleets. We don't want to be completely, I mean, of course there's strategies, right? You can focus on particular types of technology and go for them, but we do want to also be well-rounded in some ways. So we don't want to just keep taking the same exact kinds of ships, because we want to eventually, you know, have things that are very good at, say, exotic weaponry and stuff like that. But we are going to take the Brawler Frigate again. So with that being said, I'm going to allow this ship group to kind of be focused on it. All right. So
Hackers report success.
there we go. They're just coming right at us. All right. So last thing, the last ship line that we can get, that we're going to get from this particular station is what? Do we do the Sniper Frigate again?
Deal with these. We have plenty more where they came from.
These Sniper Frigates are actually upgraded by the Tech Core, and they're really good because they have infinite range. But we also might want to look at something with melee capabilities because we haven't upgraded our melee. And with the capturing of this particular planet system, we're going to have more science. At the bottom of that, you can see that Troll is going to let us acquire an additional 1,177 science from this particular place, which means we're going to be able to upgrade our tech. And if we want to, yeah, maybe we do iBots, or maybe we do viral shredders, maybe we do space planes. It really is, you know, you got to look at some of the things, some of these ships, and look at what they're capable of, and then kind of consider what you want to do with those ships, right? Sometimes, and this is, you know, kind of higher level strategy, you want a bunch of ships that are very capable of maybe cloaking because you want a very discreet type of fleet and very discreet type of transport ship. And we can talk about that in the next episode when we start to go into a little bit more detail to like the intermediate strategies. So we can do that, but we're going to probably do the Sniper Frigates because, again, we just want this initial fleet to be extremely powerful. It's going to be needed for a lot of things. Right now we're at 69 strength, which is just great, right? It means that we're going to be able to take on quite a bit of what's surrounding us. In fact, everything is below that. Everything we see right now is below that 69 strength. All right. Now we've got to do some things, right? We can steal a turret line, which we're going to do here in a second. But we also want to maybe start looking at our rear here, our 6, because we don't want anything to come through relief here while we're doing any of this, or for that matter, when we start to move on and take out our command station here. All right, so let's start by adding more pikes, right? So we'll add some pikes over here. We'll add some pikes over here, and then we'll just drop them all. That's going to be a nice little menagerie here. We also want to come back up. And remember, as I said, the command fleets, how important they are. We can level them up. So we're going to level them up at least once, right? Because we are running low on science, so I'm not trying to do too much. But that's going to help them get stronger and help our system defense here, which is quickly going to increase. Wow, look at that. We have 100 fleet strength, which is really great. So now, once we've gotten all of these turrets placed and we've got our command station increased in level, in mark level, we can consider a few things, right? So first of all, looks like they're going to come at me with a strength of 45, which is just really high for this level. It's because I have so much strength here that they can send that and we'll be perfectly fine. But my defenses here are 118 in strength, which is going to be more than capable of taking on something that's almost 1/3 of that. But it is a pretty high number for this early in the game. But, you know, we also want to make sure that this is a system that can take care of itself when we leave, right? So we do want to start doing some things by maybe, you know, dropping some tractor arrays here to keep them from moving. And then that way all these turrets can really just hammer on them as they come through, and also they get stuck there a little bit too. Another thing we can do is use our battle stations. So we have battle stations here that have been left at the initial system here, but now they should move forward, right? Because we need this to be kind of our front line defense. This is always going to need to be defended pretty well, but right now they'd have to get through Troll in order to get to Orion. So let's send a battle station there, and that's going to let us build more of these turrets. All right. Oh, wow. Okay, they've already come through, so I wasn't able to do that just yet. All right, so let's go ahead and hit these guys with everything we have. So
Naturally.
we'll get them taken care of, and of course their strengths are going down very quickly. And now that we have the battle station, which is right here, we're going to be able to build more of these turrets. We've got tritium sniper turrets that we can start dropping. And we'll do, you know, like a couple over here, a couple over here, and then maybe even some over here where things aren't going to come over. Because these tritium sniper turrets have an infinite range. They can hit anything in this planetary system. So that's why I've kind of spaced them out, and I've made them a little bit harder for the AI to focus on, right? So these guys have come over here and they started firing on them, but they're just not going to be able to do anything about this. All right, so we managed to knock those out pretty damn quickly, which is great. So the idea really was to, you know, we're going to have these battle stations. We want to move them around. Right now, having one here, of course, we have to keep it there because we don't have anywhere else to put it. We could bring it to Trawl, but our capabilities here at Trawl seem to be pretty okay. So what I want to do next is move to Roloff, right? And from there, things start to get a little bit more interesting. You know, there's a lot of things we need to do, a lot of things we need to consider, and we're going to talk about that in the next episode. So, with that, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments below. And until next time, this is Rob from eXplanation. Keep exploring.